So, as I said at the top of the show, we were going to take a very special victory lap and focus on basically the future of KBM Motorsports and where it fits and how aspiring drivers on the Advanced Auto Parts NASCAR Weekly Racing Series might be looking at the newly construed and Chevrolet related Kyle Busch Motorsports. I can't think of a better guy to have this discussion with than the host of PRN's At the Track on the Performance Racing Network, our buddy Lenny Batycki. Lenny, we all were not necessarily surprised, but we all knew that the one question mark that was not answered, and you heard Kyle Busch as we opened up saying that he intends to run Chevrolets, but he said whether it's 2, 3, or 4 trucks, he's not at the present time able to make that announcement. So short trackers that looked at Kyle Busch, Venturini Motorsports, Keith Kunz Motorsports as their feeder systems to break away from the Saturday night bull rings to make it to the big time. How do you think they're going to react to all of this?
Well, Chevrolet has been, slowly, quietly coming along with their drivers. Katie Hettinger, William Swalich, the two that come right to mind. And those two kids, have others around them, but I think they're the ones that are going to immediately be impacted and benefit because both of them have extraordinary talents and they are already winning races at the grassroots level. They're already part of Team Chevrolet and they are on the doorstep, pretty much like you would see some of these young Toyota drivers, Sammy Smith, Buddy Kofoid over on the Toyota side that, Kyle would have had in their vehicles as they went forward. I think Hettinger and Swalich are the two that have won the most.
One of the topics of discussion, and I had David Wilson, the head of TRD, on a previous episode, and we talked a lot about TRD's approach to driver development. I'm hearing from you that quite maybe, the addition of KBM to what Jim Campbell and Chevrolet has slowly been attempting to do may accelerate them into trying to replicate Toyota Racing drivers' development issues.
There's no reinventing the wheel. You just follow the leader, get in that draft, and go to the front. So I think one of the guys to watch is not on the track at all. Lauren Ranier. Lauren Ranier has been a talent scout for a number of years, and he shifted over to Chevrolet. He's got Hettinger as well as Swalich under his tutelage. And he has been helping them along. I think what he and his moves with these young drivers to help Chevrolet, it's a perfect fit to go up there to RCR and, have the big bow tie as with Kyle Busch and have it go over to KBM in Mooresville. Going to be some good stuff. Some good young drivers are going to benefit. And now that there's 2 solid avenues to go, where's Ford? We need you. Time to push the Ford button more.
Well, we have to check in and see, imitation is the sincerest form of compliment. You mentioned Lauren Ranier, who traces his background back to the glory days of Cale Yarborough and the Hardee's 28. I had the great opportunity to work with his dad, the late, great Harry Ranier, and watched basically Lauren grow up. And you're right, he has a very good and keen eye on talent. But now let's switch gears over. And am I reading too much into this? We have seen Junior Motorsports and Dale and Kelly Earnhardt Miller and that group, along with Rick Hendrick, really bring a lot of drivers along. And one of the things we spend so much time on the Xfinity side is they have a very effective late model program as well. Do you see some cross-pollination taking place between KBM and Dale Jr.'s JR Motorsports in the future?
Yeah, I think the Chevrolets of the world have to throw a much broader net into the late model world so that they can, kind of fish out, if you will, which drivers are going to be able to make it the move up to K&N, up to Truck Series, and eventually up to the Cup Series. And you just having Junior Motorsports as one location, sometimes drivers just don't fit personality-wise. And as good as Kelly and, Wyatt and all them, LW are over there at Junior Motorsports, sometimes the chemistry just doesn't work and you lose a driver over to the other side. Now, between the two, whoever fits right on either side will give Chevrolet a broader footprint to be able to choose more drivers there and then be able to have a bigger field to choose from when they want to move them up to K&N and up to truck. It should be very good for anybody that likes bow ties. This was a good day for you.
And let's not forget Maury Gallagher and the great crew down there and what they've done over on the Truck Series. I find it very hard not to imagine that there's been like so much added muscle with this announcement. We, of course, will have to wait and see just how it unfolds, because those were some of the dangling issues that were not resolved with the press meeting about him moving to Richard Childress. So
let me throw one other angle. Excuse me.
Yeah, go ahead.
As a 7-year vice president of Richard Childress Racing, from when we won at Daytona to when we lost Dale, a lot of conversations about Kyle Busch feels like Dale Earnhardt. When I saw that first noted, I went, you know what? It does. He has that heart that Dale would have loved to have seen and raced. And I think he would be approving of this. And I know the old guard RCR guys, we love somebody with swagger, and Kyle Busch has swagger. We can't wait to see him win for RCR and Richard and that whole family.
Yeah, when I visited with Jordan Bianchi and Bob Pockris, and we carried some of Richard Childress's observations, the Earnhardt connection, the only thing that would have made it more fitting, but then he would have, had disappointment from his grandson, was if all of a sudden Kyle Busch was going to wield the number 3, but that remains down the road. Who knows as it applies to that? The question mark, though, is what does this do to Toyota's efforts in driver development? That was a very critical element. KBM was an important cog in the wheel that, basically Toyota came up with, conceived of, and now everybody is trying to usher drivers from age 13 on all the way up to the big time.
You mentioned Keith Kunz before, Venturini. They're still there, and they've still got the that pipeline. It just doesn't have KBM up there. But there's plenty of places for Toyota drivers to make the steps up from the original ranks that they're found in, to be able to keep stepping up. And somebody will pan out to be able to take these Toyota drivers when it's time for them to go into the Truck Series and Xfinity. I'm not worried about Toyota. They've long been ready for the pipeline, and now they'll just make this adjustment and go on. What it's better for is it broadens the opportunities for young drivers to go Toyota or Chevrolet now, and that's better for all of us.
No question. More is indeed always better. Lenny, it's always a pleasure. We appreciate your contributions, not only to here on Wind Tunnel, but most importantly to the short track racing community. Any fans of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, even midweek racing on a short track needs to tune in to your show, PRN's At the Track. How can they, and where and when?
PRN's At the Track on Twitter. We'll keep you updated with the grassroots racing information 24/7, 365, and our show's available at goprn.com.
That's Lenny Batycki, who is a big-time friend of the show, and I couldn't think of anybody better to weigh in on what this Kyle Busch announcement means to the short track industry. We'll be back with more after these messages.